Hey Scott, Bounty Hunter Boot Camp. So I'm here in the command center, aka my office, and something was emailed to me, and it really kind of chaps my biscuits. And I don't usually talk about this kind of stuff, but hey, I'm gonna talk about it today. So as of January 1st, 2020, the state of New York has a law going into effect for a cash bail reform. They're calling it reform. And it's a crock of shit if anybody in the industry knows that it's a crock of shit. And under their cash bail reform, they're eliminating bail. So if you get arrested, they're going to process you and then cut you loose. Here are some of the crimes from the Senate bill, which was passed into law by Governor Cuomo. And this is the same place in New York State, you know, where Bloomberg is from and all these other pansy-ass liberals. And so these are the charges that they're just going to cut you loose and say, hey, it's okay if you don't go to jail. We're not going to hold you in jail, and you can go out and continue to menace the community. Here are the crimes. Manslaughter in the second degree. Manslaughter, the technical definition on manslaughter is killing somebody but not intending to kill them. So through an accident or through recklessness could be considered manslaughter. If you're driving drunk and you commit manslaughter, if you kill somebody while you're driving drunk, it's vehicle manslaughter. But manslaughter in the second degree. So you can kill somebody and they'll let you out of jail and say, yeah, you'll show up to your court dates, not to worry. Especially when you look at illegal aliens and other non-patriots or people that aren't in our country legally or are in our country legally, and they commit a crime like killing somebody and you don't get them out on bail, so you're holding them, you know, with zero accountability, and you just say, hey, you'll show up to court, and then they abscond, never to be held accountable. And the thing that really pisses me off about bail reform is the fact that it doesn't take into any consideration the victim. Bail reform is all the criminals are the victims. The criminals are the victims here because they can't afford to get out of jail. Well, maybe they shouldn't have done the fucking crime in the first place so that they wouldn't have ended up in jail. There's zero accountability. No cops are looking for, if it's not a violent offense, no cops are looking for these people that are driving with suspended licenses and out there doing other misdemeanor crimes like petty theft, shoplifting. Nobody's looking for them. The only people that are looking for them are us, bail enforcement and bail bondsmen. Police departments don't have the money. They don't have the budgets to sit there and say, hey, let's go after these low-level offenders. That's our job. And we do it really well. And we do it at zero cost to taxpayers. Things that people don't take into consideration is the murderer that I took off the street last year was at zero cost to taxpayers. It didn't cost taxpayers a cent. Bail enforcement, bounty hunters, fugitive recovery do not cost taxpayers any money. So here's some of the other crimes. And this shit really chaps my ass. Aggravated vehicle homicide. So aggravated vehicle homicide. So you kill somebody with your car. Hey, man, you're out of jail. Good luck. We'll see you at court. Criminal negligent homicide. No bail. You just get kicked out. You get arrested and you get fingerprinted and you get your photo taken and they let you go. They let you go. You don't even get to go in front of a judge. Making a terroristic threat, criminal possession of a gun on school grounds, or criminal possession of a firearm. So here you have somebody who's a convicted felon with a firearm. They get caught. Oh, you'll go to court. We're going to let you go. So they go back out. What do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to go to church and they're going to repent? No, they're going to go back out there, get another gun, and commit more crimes. Oh, man, this shit just pisses me off. Arson in the third and fourth degree. Criminal sale of a firearm to a minor. So you have an adult that sells a gun to a minor. Zero accountability. Zero accountability. What the fuck are you thinking, New York? This video is going to be demonetized, I know it, because I'm using too many bad words, but this shit really chaps my ass. Unlawful imprisonment in the first degree. Unlawful imprisonment. So, unlawful, you're holding somebody against their will. Basically kidnapping them. Coercion in the first degree, grand larceny in the first degree, criminal possession of a controlled substance in the first and second degree. Yeah, because drugs are a victimless crime. Well, you know, look where I used to live in Spokane. Spokane has a highest property crime, it has a worse crime than Philadelphia. In little old Spokane, Washington. Why the fuck do you think we moved? Because the cops don't come out. There was an attempted abduction over the weekend in Spokane. And the cops said because the guy who tried to abduct the child didn't touch the child, the cops aren't coming out. And the media is complicit with this because the media doesn't ask the questions like, holy shit, why don't the cops come out? Well, I don't know why the cops didn't come out. Well, he didn't touch anybody. It was like when Lydia caught the guy inside my house trying to burglarize my house. We figured out who it was. We told the cops why they were still here. This is the guy. Lydia positively ID'd him, and the cops were like, well, no crime. He didn't take anything in your house, so there really isn't a crime. Well, when bail bonds go in a house to try and arrest somebody, a lot of times they get charged with burglary. Burglary, the legal definition of burglary, is going into a dwelling or a business or a structure with the intent to commit a crime. Bail enforcement doesn't intend to commit a crime. They're there to apprehend the dipshit who jumped bail, but then they get charged with burglary. So what's the double standard? Oh my God, there's a double standard. Cops are not looking for these people when they miss court. I mean, if you look at Kootenai County where we live, the misdemeanor pages, go to the Kootenai County Sheriff's website and look at the felony warrants, look at the misdemeanor warrants. We have like 1,000 pages. I think it's 892 pages of misdemeanor warrants, and there's 5 people per page. Nobody's looking for these people. We're the ones being bail enforcement that if they're out on bail, we're able to hold them accountable. And we do it at zero cost to taxpayers. Private industry is better than government. It's been proven over and over. Look at Blackwater. Look what Blackwater was able to accomplish. Did Beamer get guarded by the State Department, or did he get guarded by Blackwater? He got guarded by Blackwater. The liberals attacked him. The Democrats went after him, profiting off of war. But you know what? The security detail for the interim officials in Iraq right after the Iraq War was done by private contractors, and it was done really well. So here are some more crimes. Criminal possession of a controlled substance in the first and second degree. Criminal sale of a controlled substance in the first degree near a school grounds. So if you're selling drugs and you have a gun and you're next to a school selling it to them little kids saying, hey, want some candy, little kids? Here's some drugs. You get arrested and then you're kicked right back out to be able to make it to the next day and sell some more drugs. Do you see a pattern here? This is absolutely absurd. What the fuck are you thinking, New York? What are you thinking? In Spokane, city council members went to New York to look at this program, to try and implement this program in Washington State, which is why the fuck I got out of Washington State, by the way. Criminal solicitation for criminal facilitation in the first degree, patronizing a person of prostitution in a school zone. So if you're picking patronizing a person for prostitution in a school zone, the fact that we have to have a law for that in this country is just crazy. I mean, I didn't know hookers worked school zones, but you know, it is 2020, right? Failure to register as a sex offender. Now, if you watch my videos, you see that I've caught a lot of sex offenders, and I take pride in taking sex offenders off the streets. And I pride myself in my ability to catch sex offenders. I'm pretty good at catching sex offenders. It's one of my personal passions. I love when I get a sex offender file, and I've got to go get them. I make that a priority to get that sex offender off the streets so that they're not victimizing more children. And so if you fail to register as a sex offender in the state of New York, don't worry, kids. He's going to be back out tomorrow to terrorize you and attempt to molest you again. I mean, this is fucking sane. Do you know the difference between a level 3 sex offender, which is highly likely to reoffend, and a level 1 sex offender is how they responded to their treatment. So, or their programming in prison. So when a sex offender's in prison, if he plays the game and he's really good at playing the game, he can convince them that he's a level 1 sex offender and not a level 3 sex offender, get out of prison earlier and go out and terrorize the community. Because it's just what the psychologist and the programming and how they respond to the programming on how they are as a sex offender. That's some fucked up shit. And now you're letting somebody who already has failed to register, which means they don't want to be held accountable, you're just cutting them loose from jail. You're just saying, hey, you'll go to court because you didn't fail to register the first time, so you're gonna register the second time. This is utter and complete fucking bullshit. If that person was out on bail and they missed their court, I guarantee you bounty hunters would be dragging his little petter ass into the prison, back into jail, and being held accountable. One of the things that bail enforcement does is I like to call ourselves promise keepers. You promised to appear in court. You contracted with our company to get out of jail, and you're in our custody of our company, and you fail to meet those terms of that bail, or you miss court. We grab your ass, we throw you back into court, and we throw you back into jail, and you get to be back in front of a judge. Case in point, Megan McKean, Rex's ex, the one we arrested 4 times. You want to know how private versus public is? So she never goes to court. So Rex bails her out. She misses court. She reschedules. She goes to court again. She misses that court. We get her. That's the first time we get her. She gets a new court date. A month later, she fails to appear again, and we go get her, and we put her in jail again. So now the next company in town takes it over because now her bail is $10,000, and she goes out on bail, and she fails to appear. I call my bondsman, and I say, hey, she's failed to appear again. We've already picked her up twice. What do you want to do? Well, she says she's going to reschedule. Let's give her a week. He gives her a week. She doesn't reschedule. We go, and we grab her. That's Rex's wife, number 3. So she gets bailed out again. She gets bailed out again. And that's Rex's wife, number 4. We went and got her again. We caught her selling stuff on Facebook, and we took her down on a sting on Facebook. So now her bail's so high, nobody will bail her out of jail. She can't get out of jail. She gets sentenced. What does she get sentenced to? She gets sentenced to probation, endangering a child and all this other crap that she was wanted for. She gets put on probation. What's the first thing she does when she gets out of jail? She leaves the state. Now, we haven't arrested, it's been, 4 months since we arrested her? Guess what? She's wanted on the sheriff's website right now. She is wanted by the sheriff. And nobody can find her because they're not utilizing the resources or the manpower to go look for her. We caught her every single time she missed. She was back in custody within 2 weeks. We hunted her down and we put her in jail and we got her back in front of the judge. Now that she's been sentenced, the government's taken over and she's on the run for over 4 months. They were looking for her because she was using her daughter. I mean, she was wanted for child custody interference and a probation violation because she failed to report. Oh, wow. Who didn't see that one coming? She failed to report. She didn't go to court 4 fucking times. Private bail. Surety bail works. Surety bail works. Everybody repeat after me. Surety bail works. 1 in 3 people in the state of Oregon have warrants. They don't have bail. Everybody's got a fucking warrant in that state. And then they let you out of jail and they're like, well, you can't afford cash bail, so we'll put you on $200 bail because you can afford $200. We'll cut you loose. And then they just go out and nobody goes to court. Obstructing governmental administration for the 1st and 2nd degree, or by means of self-defense spray device. Bribery in the 1st degree. You do not. So that's good for career criminals and people who like to bribe government officials, because now they can just bribe away, and they're going to get charged, but are they ever going to be held accountable? Is their warrant even going to be extraditable? I'll get on that one in a second. Resisting arrest, hindering prosecution, tampering with a juror, or tampering with evidence. I've probably seen 5 or 6 of those in my career over the last 10 years, where we're going after somebody who was tampering with a witness. So now you can fuck with your jury and be not held accountable. I'm not saying they're not going to get charged, because they could get charged, but they're not going to be held in jail for bail. One of the reasons bail exists, and the higher the bail amount available, is because somebody's a flight risk, that they're not going to be held accountable, or they're evading prosecution. And bail keeps that under wraps. We go to all extents of the United States. We go into Mexico and pull people out of Mexico. We go into foreign countries and pull people out. The only people that the U.S. Marshals are looking for are the super, super, super violent and dangerous criminals. They're not necessarily looking for people that embezzled $25,000 from a nonprofit and went to California. We got that girl. Nobody else did. So, I mean, this bail reform shit's coming. It's coming to you. It's coming to your state in the name of Democrat. And in the name of Democrats, in the name of social justice, and in the name of other bullshit. Directing a laser at an aircraft in the 1st degree, criminal possession of a weapon in the 4th degree, enterprise corruption and money laundering in the 1st degree. Now, if you don't believe me, if you think I'm just making this shit up, the source on this is the District Attorneys Association of the state of New York. I'm going to try and put in a link in the description below this document that was forwarded to me from the Senate state of New York. Cash bail reform eliminations. That's what this is. This is the real deal. This ain't some made up bullshit. This ain't some internet folk law. I'm sorry, man. It's still early. It's New Year's Eve, midday. Got about 6 inches of snow over here in Idaho, but the snow's creating awesome light. I'm not using any light in this. It's just the light coming in the window. So anyway, from the command center, Scott Bounty Hunter Boot Camp. Thank you so much for watching my 20-minute rant on cash bail reform. This shit just chaps my ass. Private industry is better than government in almost every single thing that it does. Government's supposed to be small. Constitution says the government's supposed to be small. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. This shit's going to affect everybody. And it's not going to change until there's a judge or a judge or a politician or somebody who's got a family member or 2 or 3 family members that are affected by this in a negative way. That it might change, but I don't foresee it changing. The jails say that, we don't want to build a new jail. We're just going to cut everybody out. They're letting people out of jail left and right where we are. We have the highest, Spokane has the highest property crime in the state. The police department see it as a private insurance matter. They won't even come out to your house. They just give you a case number over the telephone. I mean, it's just absurd. It's crazy. It's stupid. Cash or surety bail works. Don't listen to the BBC. Don't listen to the media. The media's hiding this shit from you. Look at this shooting in Texas. The media's not even talking about the citizens that dropped that piece of shit. He was a convicted felon in possession of a firearm. He's not supposed to have a firearm. If he would have lived under New York, guess what? He wouldn't have been held on bail and gone right back out into the community and been right back out into the community. I don't want criminals in the community without some kind of accountability. I don't want them just being cut loose. I don't want a guy who was drinking and driving and killed one of my family members to get out of jail. I want him to be held accountable. I mean, shit, in Washington, where we used to live, they gave driver's licenses to illegal aliens because they're going to get insurance. No. That's so that they could vote. Because motor voter, we get our driver's license and then we can vote. It's all a bullshit. It's all a shell game. Deep state's real, man. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but deep state's real, man. and the deep state's all about controlling you. Look what's happening in Virginia. 2020 is going to be a really interesting year. It's going to be an interesting year for bail. It's going to be an interesting year for our country. You all hunters out there, you guys stay safe. Thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure your bell's turned on. Check us out on Instagram, Bounty Hunter Bootcamp 1. I'm sorry to have ranted so much, but I'm at 20 minutes and I am out.